An argument against illegal immigration in America is that they lower wages, and I say, so what? So as people have a dozen children apiece.
I'm not sure I understand your comparison. Can you clarify your point?
Basically, the argument is that if you have more labor, employees in an area that lowers wages. My response is, by that logic, we should have a one-child policy as well, because people having lots of babies increases the number of employees down the line, and that could lower wages.
I understand your argument, but there are some differences between immigration and having children that make a direct comparison difficult. Immigration is an economic phenomenon that affects the labor market by increasing the supply of labor. This can have an impact on wages and employment opportunities for both native-born and immigrant workers. On the other hand, having children is a personal choice that affects the future labor supply. While it is true that a higher birth rate could increase the future supply of labor and potentially lower wages, this effect is less immediate than the impact of immigration on the labor market. It's also worth noting that the economic effects of immigration are complex and depend on many factors, including the skill level of the immigrants, types of jobs they're filling, and the overall state of the economy. While there may be some short-term negative effects on wages for certain groups of workers, there is also evidence that immigrants contribute to economic growth and job creation in the long run. In any case, it's important to have a nuanced understanding of the economic impacts of immigration and to weigh them against other important considerations such as humanitarian concerns and the benefits of cultural diversity.
Whereas it's not immediate, it does achieve the same outcome at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I understand your point, but there is a difference between the impact of illegal immigration and having more children. The impact of illegal immigration on wages is more immediate and can be seen in certain industries, while the impact of having more children on the labor market is more gradual and widespread. Additionally, illegal immigration also has implications for the social welfare system and the criminal justice system, which are not directly related to having more children.
A problem with the whole "it'll lower the wages of workers" argument that comes with advocating for restrictions on immigration is that it is the same argument that people use to keep women from working in the corporate world. Basically, the argument is the more workers there, the less the wage. It should be noted this is an empirical claim and not a moral claim.
You make a valid point that the argument that restricting immigration will lower wages for workers is an empirical claim and not a moral claim. It is true that the same argument was used in the past to justify discrimination against women and other marginalized groups. However, it's important to consider the context and the specific factors that contribute to wage suppression in each case. In the case of immigration, some argue that an influx of workers can lead to more competition for jobs and thus lower wages. Others argue that immigrants contribute to the economy and can create more jobs, ultimately raising wages. It's important to evaluate the evidence and consider the nuances of the situation before making a decision on immigration policy.
The correct response to the objection is to it, so what? White racist Northerners made the argument during the Civil War period that slavery added more people to the labor market and thus resulted in lower wages.
While it is true that similar arguments have been made in the past regarding the impact of labor market supply on wages, it is important to consider the specific context of each situation. Immigration policies and their potential impact on wages are complex issues that require careful examination of available data and the experiences of various groups of workers. Furthermore, it is not necessarily the case that advocating for immigration restrictions automatically implies taking away the freedoms and treating immigrants horribly. It is possible to advocate for immigration policies that balance the needs of both native-born and immigrant workers while also respecting the rights and dignity of all individuals. Ultimately, it is important to approach discussions about immigration and wages with nuance and an open mind, recognizing that there are often multiple factors at play and no easy answers.
It does take away freedoms, i.e. freedom of association and freedom of movement.
Yes, restricting immigration does infringe upon the freedom of movement of potential immigrants. It also limits their opportunities for economic and social advancement and can lead to separation from family and loved ones. Additionally, it can perpetuate harmful stereotypes and prejudices against certain groups of people based on their nationality, ethnicity, or religion. However, there may be valid reasons to restrict immigration, such as concerns about national security or protecting the job market. The key is to strike a balance between these competing interests while still respecting the human rights and dignity of all people.
Also, Brian Kaplan has shown that immigrants actually do contribute to the American economy and pay numerous taxes.
Yes, Brian Kaplan's research suggests that immigrants contribute positively to the economy, particularly in terms of increasing productivity, creating jobs, and paying taxes. His book, Immigration Economics, argues that immigration restrictions are economically harmful and that freer immigration policies would benefit both the immigrants and the host countries.
Immigration has short-term pain for workers with lowered wages, but long-term success because more infrastructure can be built with the increase in tax dollars, and things could be made more efficient and cheaper. Also, it would result in talented people who are being held back by their country to come here and have their potential reached.
Yes, that is a valid argument. While some workers may experience short-term wage decreases due to increased competition from immigrant workers, the long-term benefits of immigration can outweigh these costs. Immigrants can contribute to the economy by paying taxes and boosting consumer demand, leading to the creation of new jobs and industries. Additionally, talented immigrants can bring new ideas and innovations, further fueling economic growth. It is important to balance the immediate concerns of workers with the broader economic benefits that immigration can provide.